Welcome to Ivy and Ivy, Generations of Justice.
Hey everyone, welcome into an all-new episode of Ivy and Ivy, Generations of Justice, with attorneys Sam and Vic Ivy of Ivy and Ivy Law. I am your host, Mike Leon. You know, both of these guys, they got deep roots in West Tennessee and decades of courtroom experience, and they've been helping people who've been hurt by unsafe products and hold manufacturers accountable in all of this. That's the important part. Today's episode, we're going to be talking about that, product liability cases. Sam and Vic are going to go through what they are, how they work, and what injured consumers should know. Gents, it's good to see you. Happy New Year to you guys. Sam, let me start with you on this. What does the term product liability actually mean when it comes to Tennessee law?
So under Tennessee law, as in many other states, we have a statutory scheme that protects consumers for defective and dangerous products. When manufacturers put products in the stream of commerce, they have certain things that they have to do with the product to ensure that the consumer is safe. This can be in many different aspects. We handle them in car wrecks quite a bit. There may be an airbag situation, a seatbelt situation. There could also be other issues that occur with different products, such as we had a four-wheeler one time that we looked at. So different things like that. It could be a wide array of products and it's a free consultation. So give us a call and we'll be glad to discuss the situation and examine it and see if this is something we can handle for you. It gets very technical and specific, and most of the time we need an expert to help us analyze the product and see what the consumer may or may not have done wrong before they introduced it into the stream of commerce. So that's the first thing, Mike.
Well, Vic, let me piggyback on that because I do want to get into the minutia of it. All right. Like what kind of products over the time that you guys have been doing these cases have given rise to these kind of cases? Is it something medical devices? You know, Sam just kind of mentioned the airbags and things like that in vehicles. Is it something else?
Well, yeah, and Mike, you touched on it a little bit, and Sam did as well. With the automobiles, the airbags, seat belts, those sorts of things, whether or not the sensors go off or trigger the airbag to go off. So we do the bulk of our work is in automobile collisions, so we do a lot of those. However, there are defective products that occur. We've seen different things, hair dryers that are faulty. Sam did a case back a few years ago involving a faulty four-wheeler. And in that case, the four-wheeler was actually, part of it was manufactured here, part of it in Japan. So they wound up having to, Sam wound up having to use the Japanese police. Of course, with our federal contacts, my federal contacts that we've had through the years, we're able to go back through. And if we have to use like Interpol or Scotland Yard or something like that to go international, we have the contacts to do that through the Office of International Affairs, Department of Justice, with the contacts that we have. So they wound up translating the entire complaint into Japanese. So it just depends on where the product is manufactured, but we've seen a wide array of products, and as Sam said, it's very fact specific. So we really need to discuss that with you. We ask you to give us a call.
And Mike, it could be things like, hip implants, things like that. There was a big multi-district litigation about hip implants. And so those sometimes get consolidated by the federal court into one huge lawsuit. But on a case-by-case basis, we will discuss that with folks as well and get them in the right hands and, investigate that for them on products such as that. So it's difficult to cover all of them in this 30-minute segment, but there's a wide array of products that we examine on those cases.
Well, let's examine how or what has to be proven from the product injury for the case to succeed. So can you kind of break that down? Like what has to be proven? Is it something on the design front, the manufacturing, warnings that were heeded or not heeded?
So there's a few different claims. The first thing is there's a different statute of limitations on products cases than there is on straight injury cases. So on a car wreck case, you have 1 year here in Tennessee. On a products case, you have up to 3 years on that particular claim. So it gives you a little bit more time to look at it. With that being said, I would not delay on calling a lawyer about that. The manufacturer has a few different things, duties that they have to adhere to before they introduce a product. That gets very specific under Tennessee law. But the other thing is, if they have knowledge that the product is defective and they continue to, introduce that in the stream of commerce, you get into a failure to warn claim, a failure to warn of the known defects of the product. And that's where an expert comes in to help us. Usually an engineer or somebody like that can help us identify the various faulties of the product and help us introduce that in court, if we don't get it resolved via settlement.
Vic, let me ask you on the investigation front. You touched a little bit about Sam's case there with Japan and stuff like that, but how do you guys go about investigating a product case when key evidence is often maybe a broken or defective item? Like, kind of take us inside under the hood there.
Yeah, well, the first thing we're going to do is hire an expert to take a look at the product, and it has to be an expert in that specific area. So that person will go back, take a look at that product, take it apart, take it back to the lab, give us a report on how the thing was manufactured, what the defective parts of it are, and then they will submit that report back to us, and we can look at it and see what parts of it may be admissible into evidence and may not be admissible into evidence. So it's going to, Mike, really key upon the expert that is used in that, and it's very important to do that. Now, there may be something else involved, and usually you don't get into with products liability cases like you do with car wrecks on the criminality of it, but something could rise to that level, as Sam said, if the company keeps introducing that item into the stream of commerce and they have a failure to warn. It could rise to the level of being criminal.
And Mike, on an 18-wheeler case, for instance, if there's something like that, a defective thing on the vehicle or a car, preservation of evidence is very important as well. If you put everybody on notice, let's say a client hires us to take a look at this, we have to preserve that car or whatever the product is, usually until everybody can do a joint inspection of that with their respective experts. And that helps make sure that you present the claim the proper way to get the most compensation for your client. So it's very important to give us a call early on in one of these issues.
Well, Sam, I was just about to ask you, could you give some examples where you've seen a product defect, and maybe it's one of these 18-wheeler cases like you mentioned, but where you've seen a product defect cause such serious or catastrophic injuries?
So one of the things that comes to mind, and there's a myriad of them, but a defective tire, for instance, blowout, can cause tremendously catastrophic injuries on an interstate. If you have an 18-wheeler that's loaded down, even if it's the legal weight, if there's a defective tire involved that blows out, the whole load flips over and you've got a catastrophic wreck on the interstate. That's one that comes to mind that could be a terrible incident that would be needed to look at on a number of fronts with the injury case and then also the product itself. So that's just one example that comes to mind of that we could cover in this short segment.
And Vic, in that example there, how do these large manufacturers and their insurers typically defend against these claims?
And that's the thing, Mike. First of all, you're going to have a large company usually that you're going up against. And that's why individuals need to choose us, because we have experience going up against those large companies. So what they will do is, generally speaking, their defense is to delay. The longer they can delay this, if someone suffers from catastrophic injuries, then they're either at home or in the hospital, or heaven forbid, we've got a fatality involved, but they can delay and delay forever. So that's their main area of defense. The other one is they will begin to get their investigators out into the field immediately. And that's why individuals need to contact us quickly so that we can get on the case in a hurry.
Sam, can you kind of take us inside a little bit of how it differs about taking on, like Vic just said, like a national company, a big, large company versus going up against whether it be an individual or some type of small local business?
Yes, sir. So with a big manufacturer like that, a big company, they may have various subsidiaries and parent companies that you need to identify and bring suit against early on. You don't want to leave anybody out because you're not really sure at that time which ones may be involved. They may be working in tandem together, but that's the first part of it. Is you're going to have a lot of legs to this company probably to identify in various states. Then you're going to have lawyers, in-house lawyers that may be advising them on the top level, and then they've got a litigation attorney that may be, doing the actual case here, and then even local counsel they may hire here to do, routine court appearances for them, et cetera. So it gets very involved, and a lot of lawyers involved. So, you need someone that can navigate that and deal with all their ammunition they bring on these cases. It gets time consuming and very specific, but we'd be glad to advise anybody that's been injured in one of these.
Yeah. Well, speaking of advise anybody, right? Perfect segue, by the way, Sam. Vic, if someone right now is listening to this and they suspect a product caused their injury, what steps would you guys advise them that they should take right away to kind of protect their rights?
Well, immediately they should contact us so that we could get on the case and get investigators to take a look at it to start with. And the reason that they need to do that is because a lot of these products are not only portions of them manufactured here in the States, but majority or a lot of these products are manufactured outside China, Taiwan, different companies, some Brazil, just different places. Sam and I have contacts, and of course through my contacts as chief prosecutor in the Jackson, Tennessee U.S. Attorney's Office, we have contact with the Office of International Affairs in D.C., in Washington, that we can go through and contact those lawyers. They can get us in contact with the different places, different countries that we need to contact through, treaties and those sorts of things that have to be dealt with those other countries. So
our laws allow us under certain circumstances to hold international companies responsible here, but you have to do it the right way. And companies in other states as well, if it's a state issue. But many times they do end up in federal court. You have to get it done the right way. So very important not to delay in calling us. The other thing is the product itself. If there's something that has occurred, do not lose that product. Document it every way you can if you're injured in an incident, and make a report. If you're in a facility where this happens, something like that, report it. Do not leave the premises without making it documented that you've been injured by this product, because it makes it very difficult on the back end. With no product, it's hard to have a products case.
Well, and Mike, Sam touched on that. Very important. Keep the product, whatever it is. I mean, if it's a defective can, soft drink can or bottle or something like that, we must have that piece of evidence. If you throw that away, your case is gone.
Right. You need the evidence, right? You got to have direct evidence, not the circumstantial. Well, let me ask you here as we land the plane on today's episode, Sam, and Vic, you can chime in as well. But we just talked about people that suspect a product caused their injury. What would be your message to someone who's been hurt by a product, but they're a little unsure whether or not they should go pursue a claim? Sam?
So I would say give us a call as soon as possible. It's a free consultation. There's no money out of your pocket to discuss this issue with us. And if you wait too long, it makes it very difficult to pursue the claim. So call immediately. Of course, make sure you're okay if you're in the hospital or something like that. But give us a call so we can discuss the issue with you. It's free. And we'll shoot straight with you one way or the other on whether we can pursue the case or not. There's no cost to you to do so, except your health and well-being.
There's one area that we need to touch on quickly, and that is the statute of repose. And the statute of repose is, I believe it's a 10-year statute. Isn't that correct, Sam?
I forgot to mention that.
Yeah, but the statute of repose is if the item is manufactured more than 10 years before, then your case has gone away. It's like the statute of limitations of a personal injury case is 1 year. Here, the statute of repose puts a 10-year limitation on the production of the product.
Or on bringing a claim against a manufacturer for a product if it's been out there for over 10 years. That's problematic in Tennessee. So, but we can advise that to the potential client.
Right. Well, it's great insight and analysis. That's why we have you guys on. Appreciate the time, gents.
Thank you, sir.
And thank you everyone out there for listening to this installment of Ivy and Ivy Generations of Justice. Look, if you believe a defective product caused your injury, or even if you're unsure, like you just heard Sam say, contact Sam and Vic. They can help you understand what your options are and hold the right people accountable. That's the most important part. Do me a favor right now. Visit ivyandivy.com to learn more. Before you go, do me a favor, hit like, subscribe, leave a review or comment, or share the episode with someone who needs to hear it. I am Mike Leon. We'll see everybody next time.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button and leave us a review in the comments.